Hi everyone, it's Gail again. I hope everybody's doing well this Thirsty Thursday. Hope you're doing well. I just want to give a shout out to all of my viewers. Thanks for watching my videos. I know I've posted a lot over the last week or so, and I really appreciate all your likes and all my subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, pass the word along. I think I have a lot to offer to our community, and I would like to serve more people as far as that is concerned. So if you find my channel helpful, if you find my videos helpful, pass the word along because I would love to help more people. I'm not working anymore, which is the topic of my video today. So I kind of see this as part of my full-time job, and we'll talk about that as well. So as far as my bipolar disorder is concerned, I was not diagnosed until I was 27. So I was actually pregnant with my daughter, 8.5 months pregnant when I was officially diagnosed. And that was in 2009. And I did not accept that diagnosis for a couple of years. But we'll talk about that too. I know I'm jumping all over the place, so I'll just start at the start because I think that's the easiest way to go. I went to a small college in Pennsylvania and got my degree in nutrition and clinical dietetics in 2006. And when I graduated, I followed my husband down to North Carolina, and there were no jobs open for people in the nutrition department of any hospital or any clinic. So I looked for another science-based job, and what I found was I found a research job that would allow me to travel for my job and work from home. That turned out to be a really great blessing and a curse at the same time because I made really, really good money, but I was also bipolar and not knowing it at the time, and I was spending money hand over fist. I still go through phases where I do that, but this was really bad. I was spending thousands of dollars, and it's something that I had never done before, so it was a new behavior, and it was very alarming, but nobody really put two and two together until I was diagnosed. So my job traveled 80% of the week. So there's a funny saying that everything is subject to change. Well, with this job, everything was subject to change. It was unpredictable hours, inconsistent schedule. I was adjusting to time changes when I would have to travel to the West Coast and come back that same week, and then either go someplace else or be ready to go someplace else on the following Monday if I didn't get home until the end of the week. One important thing to note is after I was diagnosed, I was really on and off being non-compliant with my medication. Sometimes I would take it and I would have to have my husband help me manage my medication. And sometimes I wouldn't take it, or I'd go a while without taking it. And then all of a sudden I would start taking it again. And so I was really inconsistent with taking my medication. I was also not consistent with going to my therapist and seeing my psychiatrist. So I was in a world of trouble because my job, they were not putting up with my antics. I couldn't help it at the time, but I was having a lot of symptoms of bipolar mania, and it was just going unchecked because it just was. There was just no other reason to suspect it would be anything other than, I just can't get my act together, and I'm failing miserably at trying to hold down a job and make a living and keep up with bills, and everything started to overwhelm me. So my doctor at the time finally had kind of a come to Jesus moment with me and said, you know, she would only help me if I accepted the help. Otherwise, they would lead me out of the building and actually get like a restraining order so that I couldn't go back and try to become a patient again. I was able to go back to work for a little while, but I had another episode, and this is by far probably one of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me. I had just gotten out of the hospital for a manic episode, and I had a supervised visit with my supervisor and the team leader of one of my clinical trial sites. And it was what is called a pre-study visit. So basically, it was me educating the site on how to do the clinical trial and make sure that they have all the facilities and all the resources to conduct the trial. So my purpose for that visit was to go up there and make sure that they would be ready to participate in a clinical trial if they were so chosen by the sponsor. And that particular visit, it was the day after I got out of a hospitalization and was probably not ready to come back to work. So I had that episode requiring hospitalization. And then the next day, I had a supervised visit. And I'm not kidding you, it was the three of us sitting in a little circle together. There wasn't even a table between us. It was just me sitting next to this study coordinator and my manager sitting across from me. And as soon as I opened my book to start my presentation, I burst into tears. And I had a complete meltdown. I'm not sure if it was an anxiety attack. My guess is that it probably was. But I cried and I cried and I cried and I ugly cried for about 5 minutes straight. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but when you're in the presence of two strangers and you're losing your mind, 1 minute feels like an eternity. Every second feels like an eternity. So I had the meltdown, and my supervisor had to conduct the rest of the visit. And all I could do was sit there and cry. Later, we had dinner together. So you can imagine how awkward that was. And I remember her name was Joan. And Joan said to me, so what do you think is going to happen with your job now? And I almost choked when she said it, because I think deep down I knew what was going to happen, but I don't think I was ready to hear that in the middle of dinner. And sure enough, I answered her and I said, well, I really, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I deserve a second chance. And I tried to explain to her that I was going through a rough time and maybe I needed to take more time off, but that obviously didn't happen, because the next day I got a call from Joan and Joan's supervisor telling me that I was fired. So that is the story of one of my, only one of a couple of episodes where I lost my job because of bipolar disorder. I was acting differently on the job. I was calling off. I was not turning in assignments on time because my mind was just racing, and I could not slow anything down to a speed where life was feasible anymore. And I know that people who have had manic episodes have had a lot worse than me, but to be episodic in the presence of somebody else that clearly doesn't understand the disease is very humbling, and it's humiliating. And so that was my experience with one of my jobs. So that's all I have to say about that. I just wanted to kind of come clean about some of the things that can happen when your bipolar disorder is unchecked or you're not taking care of yourself. I'm not working anymore. I've been on disability for 4 years now, and it's not a vacation by any means. It is not a vacation. My new full-time job is taking care of myself, and my new full-time job can sometimes entail 5 doctor's appointments in a week, or a medication change every 2 weeks, or therapy appointments multiple times a week when I'm doing really, really poorly. So I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to help myself and that I have the time to do it, because I know that a lot of people file for disability and are turned down multiple times before they can get help. In my case, I filed for disability after 3 of my doctors finally convinced me that I could not work anymore. And I filed and was approved within 6 months. So if that tells you anything about the severity of my disease, I don't know what does. So definitely living a little more frugally, but that's just fine because I get to stay home and I get to take care of myself, and I get to spend more time with my daughter and my husband. And I can't imagine what life would be like if I were still out there traveling right now. I don't think that I would be able to do it. Even if I didn't have the bipolar stuff going on, I have systemic lupus and I get very worn down very easily. So perhaps it was meant to be. I'm not necessarily a person that thinks that everything happens for a reason, but I think that some circumstances work themselves out to your advantage. And in this case, it did with me. Going on disability doesn't sound like it's an advantage at all, but I do have the advantage of a little bit of income during the month, and I'm able to support my family a little bit, not to the extent that I used to be able to, but I can contribute something now, and that makes me feel useful, because I think that a lot of us, when we're going through episodes, or even when we're not going through episodes, we feel like we're a burden, or that we're misunderstood and that we'll never be understood. But that's never say never. And so I think that's all I have to say about that today. I hope you're enjoying my videos. Again, hit subscribe, hit like. I'd love to see some comments in the comments section about topics that you'd like me to discuss as it pertains to mental illness or physical illness or disability or whatever strikes your fancy. It's been great, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And if I don't see you before the holiday weekend, have a good one. Bye.